That's working just fine. There's no problem here. Hey, see? This is like a $400 something camera, and I think it will survive this fall. Here we go. If you're making a video and you keep saying to yourself, man, I wish I had a more expensive camera, then my stuff would finally look good. Well, you're just dead wrong. Because right now, what you're seeing is an image shot on a super expensive camera that we shoot TV commercials with. And this doesn't look good at all. And now, you're looking at a shot that's lit with cheap lighting gear, shot on a super cheap camera with cheap audio, and it looks and sounds great. That's the difference. Knowledge is the difference here. If your shot doesn't look good, there's only one person to blame, and that's yourself. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can get a shot like this with super cheap gear, stuff you can find around the house. This isn't impossible to do. You can do this on the cheap. So let's get started. This video is brought to you by Storyblocks, and we love Storyblocks. There's 5 things that I want to tell you about Storyblocks. First, most importantly, Storyblocks is a subscription-based model where you can get stock footage and stock assets, and you don't have to pay for each one individually. There's a monthly payment, and you can download as many as you want. The second reason why I love Storyblocks is because they have over 1 million assets to choose from. When I'm going on there, I can be pretty specific, and I can usually find the shot or the asset that I want. Number 3, a lot of stock footage sites have super cheesy stock footage, and Storyblocks actually has really good stuff, and they're adding more stuff every single day. Their shots look better than this, I'll tell you that. Number 4, they make it easy in terms of licensing. You don't have to dig through paperwork to figure out if your shot can be used in a certain project. They make licensing simple to understand. And number 5, Storyblocks is inexpensive. This is a screaming deal. So go to storyblocks.com/epiclightmedia to see what Storyblocks can do for you. Now, the first step to a good image is actually not even the lighting. So first, I want to talk to you about the audio. Right now, I'm being filmed on 2 main cameras here. Our super expensive camera that we use for TV commercials, and a super cheap camera called the Sony ZV-1. Also, I've got 2 microphones here. One that's like $1,500 called the Sennheiser MKH50, super professional. And then I've got a $110 microphone from Zoom. And I've just taped it to the pole here right outside the frame. Right now you're listening to the MKH50, which is a super expensive microphone, and now you're listening to our super cheap microphone, and you're seeing me filmed with the Sony ZV-1. Okay, right now what you're listening to is the room sound. This is the sound on the camera itself. If your camera has a microphone, you're like, oh good, I don't need to buy a microphone, my camera has one. No. It's not about the microphone, it's about where the microphone is. That's when you're gonna get good sound. And if your camera is a few feet away, it's gonna start sounding like garbage. Now let's talk about the lighting. Right now, I've got no lights on me, except for the lights above me. These are typical house lights. Top-down lighting is not attractive, and this image is not 3-dimensional, so I'm going to turn these off, and you need to pay attention to this. If you walk into a space and there's lights on, look at how they look, and if they're not good, turn them off, because sometimes you got to start from scratch, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to turn these off. So I really am starting from scratch here. You can't even see me now because it's so dark. So I'm going to turn on these lights. There we go. In the film industry, this is called the key light. And the reason why it's called that is because it's the main light source that's illuminating my face. A key light is typically placed on one side of the subject. Doesn't matter which side, pick a side. So what I'm using here is 2 lights. These were purchased from Home Depot, and they're just regular construction can clip lights with some LED bulbs in them. And they're not shining at me. They're shining at the sheet. If they were shining at me, it would look like this. Don't shine lights directly at your subject's face. It will look unnatural and harsh. Bounce the light, diffuse the light. Do whatever you can to make the light look soft. And in this instance, I am shining the lights at a bed sheet. And the bed sheet is being supported by 2 cheap video light stands. You can buy light stands like this from Amazon for super duper cheap. I do recommend buying light stands and not trying to make your own because they are very important to have. So buy some cheap light stands. They don't have to be expensive. They can just do the job. The light was spilling around the room a little bit too much, so I found some aluminum foil. And I've used this to control the light a little bit more to make sure it's not hitting my face and to make sure it's not bouncing around the room too much.
Hey, why are you taking down the roof?
This needs to happen. Don't ask me why. This is all the stuff that we're using in the video today. And I don't want to do this, but it needs to be done. All of this equipment needs to be thrown off of the roof to show you that cheap equipment doesn't need to be coddled, doesn't need to be cared for. This stuff can be thrown violently, if necessary, right off of a roof. And most of this stuff is going to survive these falls. Last but not least, this camera needs to be thrown off the roof. The next thing I've done is I've placed this simple foam board next to my face. You can buy something like this from Walmart. See that? Super cheap, they're like $1, and I've clamped it onto a stand. Now, what this is doing is it's bouncing light from the key light and bringing it over to this dark side of my face. If I don't use this, see how much darker this side of my face is? That's fine. If you want a moody look, you don't need this. This just adds another layer of control. So check this out. When I bring this in, right outside the camera frame, the reason why I like this method, instead of placing a light over here to illuminate this side of my face a little bit more, is because now we're dealing with one light source instead of 2. And it's more natural when your subject is lit by one light source. And if it's bouncing back, that looks more natural. Another thing that I like is when you're using one light source in front of the subject, they have one catch light in their eye. If they have multiple catch lights, it can start to look a little bit unnatural. Next, what I've done is I've added interest to the background. These things aren't here by accident. First, this lamp is placed on this side of the frame for a reason. Now we've got something light, then dark, then light, then dark. Right? It's more interesting. If the lamp was placed on this side of me, it would be light, light, dark, dark. The pattern wouldn't be as interesting. Over here, this wall was boring, so I placed this stuff to get some visual interest on that side. Over here, I've used a black blanket and I've clamped it onto these stands, and I'm gonna move it and show you the difference it makes in the background. The reason why I did this was because I looked at the image and I noticed that that corner was a little bit distracting and I didn't like the way it looked. And so I had to think creatively, okay, how can I do this? Well, the light's shining down there, how can I block it? Well, let's use a blanket. You can do stuff like this. Every scenario is different. Every single time you light something, there's going to be little things that you want to control, and being creative with what you have on hand is the way to do that. Now, there's one more light that I like. You don't have to do this, but this does add a little bit more visual interest. Now, there's this lamp here, so you'd expect for there to be a little bit of warm light hitting me. So I've placed one more light in the background. Some people call this a backlight. I just like that it gives a little bit of visual interest here between me and the background, and it makes it look like this lamp is the thing that's lighting me here. There's another element that I've been using here, and that is color temperature. These lights are cool. These lights behind me are warm. This difference in color temperature adds visual interest to the shot. And again, I use tin foil on the backlight to make sure it doesn't spill on the background. Without the tin foil, it looks like this. See, the tin foil really helps control light so it doesn't spill onto the background and make the background look bad. It seems like most of this survived the fall. I am a little bit worried though. I guess I didn't realize that bulbs break. This one's done. Oh, good. It's even still recording. We're fine.
We can still return it?
Yes. These principles really are the basics of lighting. Whenever you watch a movie, they're using these same principles to make their shots look good. Yes, they do have super expensive cameras that they're using, but those aren't as important as the lighting. Every great cinematographer, every great filmmaker understands this. So when you're making your videos, whether it's a YouTube video, an interview, or a short film, or a movie, remember the lighting. If you enjoyed this video and you want to subscribe to this channel, please don't. This channel is crashing to the ground currently. We are a channel in decline, and that's the way we like it. Now, I would like you to subscribe to somebody else. His name is Louis Potts, and he is an incredible filmmaker, and he just started his channel, and he has like less than 1,000 subs. So if you watch this video, go to his channel and like sabotage it. Just go to a random video and be like, Backlight Media told me to come here, and say whatever you want to him. I like this because then it messes with the algorithm, and the YouTube algorithm is like, what the freak's going on? So this is fun. This is how I have my fun. Ooh, there's another camera we can throw off the roof. Whoa, no. And I'm gonna throw this one off the roof too.
Come on.